Hi, hello. Welcome back to what will be a very mini review of Inferno. Why mini, you might ask? Because I've already filmed this. In fact, there's two videos I've already filmed. Pardon me. And I know for a fact that I saved them to my Google Photos because I checked and they were there when I initially uploaded them to Google Photos, and I made sure that it was properly. It wasn't just on my, because there's a thing on Google Photos. If you have it on your phone, it will appear in Google Photos, but unless you upload it to Google Photos, it's not going to actually save there. It's really stupid. And I checked and they were all uploaded, great, fun. And then, this has never happened before, twice in the same week I go to find the video and the footage is gone, and I'm like, great. So I have to, this is the first of two, and to top it off, I'm also trying to get a clip for my scripted video, and for some reason it's just not downloading. So to ease my tension, because I'm very stressed, I thought I'd just quickly film a little moment. Now, this won't be very in-depth, because I know that if I try to do a really in-depth review again, I'm just going to get pissed off, because I've already done this. So, sorry I had to do a minute of angry talking, but here we are. Inferno! Right, so, Inferno was the final story in the Third Doctor's first season, in 1970, season 7, and it had the Third Doctor and Liz Shaw, and all the unit chums, and the main focus of the story is the Third Doctor trying to get his TARDIS to work, because if you didn't know, part of the show at this point is that he can't use his TARDIS, which is why he's on Earth most of the time. He accidentally travels to a parallel universe. In this parallel universe, the Brigadier is called the Brigade Leader, he's all evil. Liz Shaw is kind of evil, but turns out she's not. And in that alternate universe, the events that are happening in ours, where there's this, was it the Inferno project? I forget. It was like, they're I don't know, are they drilling to the earth? Are they sucking up things with pipes? I can't remember. And I'm not putting a 7-part serial on just so I can see about that detail. And in the parallel universe, they're further ahead. It's kind of the same as Rise of the Cybermen and Age of Steel, where they use the information from another universe to try and stop that happening to our universe. And what the sort of the dour note to this is that alternate universe, fucked. It's gone. They die, all of them, because through this experiment, not only do we get the awful Primords that aren't ever named on screen, but that's what they're called, and, ends up, as the title suggests, Inferno, the whole world gets, sort of engulfed in flames and lava and all this good stuff. And about not long, it was past halfway, but the Doctor realises, oh, I'm sorry, but you are screwed. I cannot save your planet. But can you please help me get back to mine and save the alternate versions of you guys who I swear exist? And considering what you've seen today, it's not that hard to believe that there's an alternate universe, considering there's literally everything that's going on. It's literally the end of the world. And it's a really great concept. It's a really great concept. I love all the stuff with him and alternate Liz Shaw. I like the idea. It's the first time that I think that Doctor Who really went into parallel universes, the sort of multiverse theory, and that there's universes where there's little changes, but apart from that, it's effectively the same thing. And I honestly, my thing with this is, this story was 2 parts shorter, it would be a banger. I think it's just too long. And I think the reason it's too long is because they feel the need to pad a lot out with constantly showing us what's going on back in our Earth. I understand they want us to sort of make sure we pay attention to the characters on our Earth, and keeping in mind that they're all still in danger, and we get loads of moments of, oh, don't forget, the Stahlman from our universe, he's still going ahead with his plans, Great, but they do that way too often. If you cut that down to 1 scene per episode, then you'd save so much time. And pardon me. And also, there's a lot of in classic serials, as there usually is. There's a lot of, we don't trust you, Doctor. We're not going to let you help us. But I think in this story, it's kind of forgiven, because the cool angle is it's characters that usually do trust him that don't. The Doctor's great. The Third Doctor's great, as he always is. Liz Shaw. This is Liz Shaw's final serial, and it's a shame we don't really spend much time with our Liz at all, considering we don't see her again. And they didn't know this would be her last serial when writing it, hence she doesn't get an exit. But it's just a shame how these things worked out. On the other hand, I really like alternate Liz Shaw. I think she's really enjoyable. She's a really complex character, and in the end, you really root for her. But she's not exactly the same as our Liz. Yes, she ends up helping the Doctor, but she is more strict. She isn't as jokey and jovial. pardon me, I think the only main part of her character they retain is that she's, she's really smart. And Caroline John does an excellent job in the role. Obviously, we don't get much from everyone who really from our universe, all the Brigadier crew, unit. They're like fine, but they aren't that important. That's just the nature of the story. It's all about the alternate universe until the last episode or two, or is it just the last episode? I can't remember. But Brigade Leader, he's quite a good antagonist. He's basically evil Brigadier. Starman is good enough. He's like enjoyable considering he's that sort of the archetype you get a lot in Doctor Who with the scientist who's arrogant and doesn't want to listen to the Doctor. Not because they're evil. They don't want the world to end, but they're so hungry for discovery, and then the idea of their operation being halted, they become a bit crazed, and then when they realise what's going on, they get infected by the Primord goo. They try and hide it. Honestly, I mentioned it. The weakest part of this episode is you could probably convince me the whole dealing with stuff about the drilling into the Earth and the Earth's core and all that stuff. You could probably convince me that would possibly result in the Earth being engulfed in fire and flame, but they never really, even from what I remember, or they must have explained it badly or not even bothered trying, explain what the goo is. It's just stuff that's deep inside the Earth, and then when you touch it, you turn into a Primord, and you get really hot, and their weakness is cold temperatures, so they use like fire extinguishers and stuff to hold them back. The Primords are cool. I think they look good enough. They look cool enough for a monster, but if you look in my research, I found that the Primords were a very, very late addition to the story, because I'm assuming probably the producers, the execs at BBC were like, well, we have to have some kind of monster. We can't have a cool, interesting what-if scenario about an alternate universe. No. We need an alien, please, thank you. Who are we, amateurs over here at the BBC? So then they sort of added the Primords, and you can tell because they don't need to be in the story. And honestly, if you remove the Primords altogether and cut some of the Earth bits, you could probably shorten this to 5 parts. Maybe even 4 if you were really condensing it, but definitely 5. Because 7's just way too long. But I have the same thing with Doctor Who and the Silurians. It's 7 parts. And the Daleks. 7 parts is just a big undertaking. Because it's not like the War Games where it's like a 10-part epic. It's always a 5, 6... Well, it's usually not even 6... All the 7-part stories I've enjoyed so far from the classic era are all like 4-part stories that have been stretched to last 7. And that's a shame. And I have no idea if we ever get to see the Daleks Master Plan in full, whether it be animated or stuff. But then that's the Daleks Master Plan, that's kind of a bit like The Chase, in that they spend so many episodes of just the characters running away to different places. So they kind of have that going for them. Visually, it looks quite good. There's a lot of location stuff in this episode, and obviously I'm taking into account from 1970. It's the first season of Doctor Who that was broadcast in colour, so I'm taking that into account. Yeah, it looks cool. Although it's not great quality, the actual camera, I like when they in the alternate universe when they go outside and obviously the world's ending and everything's orange, and they use like probably chroma key. Because they didn't have green screen back then, they used for when our alternate characters are looking out of that garage bit, and then they see like this huge wave of lava coming towards them. That looks like decent for 1970. That would have scared me if I was watching it on telly. It's actually scary now. That I was literally like, that's terrifying. And the worst bit is when the Doctor zips away, those 4 die. Hopefully, it was somehow quick. I don't see how it could be when you've got this huge wave of lava coming towards you. They probably just got incinerated by the heat. It's actually really dark, this serial. What else is there to talk about? Oh, I guess the sort of extra supporting cast in this one are Petra and Greg, who we get a little bit about in the main universe, but obviously the reason they set them up in the main universe is because then when we go to the alternate universe, we have to be like, oh, it's alternate versions of Greg and Petra, not just, who are these 2 buffoons? But I liked them. They have like a romance going. I think it's more believable in the alternate universe because it seems that Greg's been there for longer than he has been in the our universe, and it's pardon me, you know, it's a bit stereotypical, like, oh wow, we have a male and female supporting, you know, new supporting characters in this story. They must be, you know, romantically compatible. But I kind of like Petra. She kind of like tries to cover for Starman, as in like she's trying to make up excuses for him, but Greg's very much like, no, this is wrong. You have to stop messing about with nature. There was that guy. Remember the guy who's like really important, and then he gets in a car, and then we think he's dead, and he's been killed in a car crash. Actually, to be fair, Starman is pretty bad. Like, that's the one, because in the alternate universe, Starman arranges for him to get killed in a car crash, or at least I think we're left to assume so. And then in our universe, I think that's what you think happens. And then he just comes back at the end of the episode. He's like, I wasn't killed in a car crash, and I'm like, okay, great, good for you. I mean, having that old switcheroo didn't really mean anything. That's the one thing I actually would have kept when it comes to looking back at our universe, is keep the bit where he drives and he gets killed in a car crash, because then the viewer goes, oh, so our universe is directly following what's going on in this alternate one, and then you realise, shit, so he's now died in a car crash, which means the stuff that the Doctor's experiencing isn't too far away. I mean, the Doctor basically just gets back in the nick of time to save us from the impending doom he's already seen. You know, so I don't know, maybe they just didn't want, because then there's really no stakes, because then it's like, so no one in our universe actually died. Well, I mean, people did die. I mean, the ones that got, like, half turned into Primords, and the ones who did get turned into Primords did. But, like, none of the main cast die. Yeah, I mean, it's good. I gave in my blog, I gave Inferno, like, a 7. I think I'll probably give it a 7.5 now. I think it's improved. I think it deserves 7.5. It's not perfect, but it's got great ideas. Pardon me. And although it's, like, obviously not a lot of classic series don't have, like, a traditional finale like we have in modern television, but I think it serves as a pretty good end. I mean, it's probably the most epic. Like, again, the whole planet in the alternate universe gets destroyed, so, like, it gets engulfed in lava. So it's kind of, you know, it's big, it's spectacle. The idea of parallel universes is like a big concept. Yeah, I guess it's a decent final serial. 7.5. I enjoyed it. I would watch it again if I just wanted something in the background. I wish I was really good at, you know what, if I was really good at editing and I had like if I like won the lottery, right, I think one thing I would do is I'd like get Doctor Who stories and I'd like pick random ones and like edit them myself and edit them down and like see how short I could get them. That'd be a fun project. Sadly, I'm not a millionaire, though. I probably won't win the lottery, statistically. And even if I did win the lottery, I'm probably not going to be spending my days editing Doctor Who stories. I'll just buy them all on DVD. I'll be able to afford the collections. Anyway, moving on. Thank you guys for watching. I hope this was actually decently long, and the fact that I had already recorded it before meant I knew exactly what I wanted to say, which I guess was a positive. It's really annoying because I was actually being really productive and like I was like getting shit done with my channel after like a month of really wishy-washy, hardly uploading, and then I've done that, and now my computer and my apps and everything are trying to get in my way. I mean, I've lost 2 videos. For some reason, a clip I'm trying to use for a scripted video isn't downloading, so I've had to postpone that till tomorrow because there's no way I'm going to get that finished editing that by today. And the sound quality for that video isn't great, but I didn't realise it till it was too late, and I'm not going to re-record it. I really need proper equipment. I need a microphone. My boyfriend has a microphone. I just had a very clever idea. Remember that? Anyway, hope you enjoyed. If you did, like, subscribe. If you didn't, bye. Bye-bye. Bye-bye now. Synecdoche. I shamelessly stole that from Your Movie Sucks because I couldn't think of an exit. Aaron's my name. Plagiarism is my game.